But moving on, we have the Tokyo Toxapex, coached by Coach James, with a KD of 11 and 28, and that's very indicative of what's been the struggles of this team all season, which has been the fact that it lacks a lot of offensive firepower. Recently, I mean, for the most part, as the name suggests, Tokyo Toxapex, Coach James and Toxapex was led by Toxapex, but I believe it was this week, right? Yes, actually, as of this week, they did, or was it last week? I believe it was last week.
I think it was last week.
They dropped Toxapex and picked up Hydreigon to add more firepower and to try to get those kills up a little bit more, because that was probably definitely the main struggles of this team. Because I mean, yes, you could have walls, but if your opponent is prepared for your walls, they could take care of them. And because you're running walls and you can't really fight back because you do lack some offensive pressure, it is going to be really, really tough to pick up some wins. So hopefully the addition of Hydreigon to this team is going to be a positive acquisition for the team, and hopefully we could start seeing some more wins from James and the Tokyo Toxapex.
Carlos, I wanted to know, like, what do you think of the G-Max Duraludon pick? Because as we know, you just dropped Duraludon for Seismitoad. So I wanted to know, like, how do you think Duraludon is fitting on James's team?
Did he pick that up recently, or when did he pick that up?
No, that's his G-Max.
Oh well, Duraludon is a fine pick as long as you're using it offensively. Like, if you use it defensively, you can, because it has like 130 defense or something like that, base defense. But if you use it more of an offensive set, it's way better, because its special attack is like 115 or something crazy like that. And then its speed, you would think it's slow, but it's like 100 base speed, which is faster than most mons.
I believe
so. It's like,
his base speed is like 85, which for a steel type, for a steel type, for a steel type is actually really, really fast. Steel types are usually slower, because I mean, I believe it was when I faced Coach Tanzi in the BSO, I wasn't expecting it to be that fast. So when I was like prepping for it, I looked and it was base 85. So it's a lot faster than you would expect it to be. It's
a lot faster than you think. And then if you like pair that up with like a Specs or even like a Scarf, plus max special attack, because the special attack is base 120, it's like it's a monster, especially if you get to Dynamax it. And then the only way you can hit it for super effective is like ground and fighting.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a good mon. It just needs to be used more offensively than defensively, I believe.
Right. So I mean, James, hopefully the new acquisition is a positive one for your team, and we expect to see great things from the Tokyo Toxapex. Moving on, we have the Scenewood City Quagsires, coached by Ryan, with the KD of 20 and 21. Now, I'm not sure if this factors in. I don't think it does. His past week, which was a 6-0 loss because he couldn't make the battle. I don't think that factors in. Yeah,
I don't think it'll.
So the stats are, let's keep in mind, he does have 20 and 21, but the stats are basically a week off from everybody else's. So
that's what I was about to say. That's crazy, because he's tying up with Sosa in kills.
Right.
He's tying up with Mac in kills.
Yeah. Right.
He's behind like most higher up teams, so it's crazy to me.
Right. I mean, going into the season, we definitely expected to see Quagsires to be one of the top tier teams in the league, and I mean, they've had their moments where they have shown utter dominance, as well as having moments that shown some slip ups. I mean, some of them we didn't expect at all, but for the most part, I mean, this team is probably performing the way we expected it to perform. Who knows? It did pick up the loss last week, but maybe if he played, maybe he could have won. That was actually one of my matches of the week for week 6, the National Needle Kings versus the Quagsires, because those are two really, really good teams. So I'm really sad that we didn't see that one go down, because that was definitely in prime position to be a match of the week candidate. But like I said, hopefully the Quagsires come back this week. I'm not sure who they play. I would have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure Coach Ryan is going to come back with a vengeance to get.
He goes up against
Manny.
Manny.
Manny. Oh, he goes against Manny. Oh, that's going to be an interesting one. That's going to be an interesting one because we know that Manny makes very calculated, conservative plays, as well as Ryan. Like for the most part, Ryan is going to come to play and ready to play. So I mean, yeah, we're going to keep an eye on the Quagsires. Right now, their record is 2-3. No, they're also 3-3, right?
3-3, yeah.
Right, another one of those 3-3 teams. So another team fighting for the playoff position. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it turns out. But next up, we have Coach Bishme and the New York Knicks. And bro, what is your opinion on your team so far?
Hey, first of all, my team has terrible chemistry. I tried to pick up some mons that'll help the sun, but like it just doesn't work. Like if I try to pair Pokemon that don't work in the sun with my sun team, it's just like I got too much stuff going on.
All right. Hold up. Wait. Before we continue, first of all, let's break down the KD. 23 and 23. That's decent. Right. That's actually pretty good. That's decent. Yeah. That's you're breaking even the KD. But can you please elaborate on your team doesn't have chemistry and it doesn't work? What do you mean, bro? Your team is on paper. Your team was ranked. Was you number 1 or number 2? You were number 1. You was number 1 because people feared the synergy and the power that your team presented. Bro, what do you mean you don't have chemistry?
Bro, that's literally if I bring all 6 of my sun mons.
No.
Yes. That's literally what it is. And that's why I had such a dominating win. But I was like, nah, I really want to switch it up. I don't want to be bringing this most of the time. Like I said, if I switch out one of the mons that won't do well in sun, kind of just sits there and doesn't do anything. Like, especially in week 1, when I brought Grimmsnarl and Noctowl. Grimmsnarl and Noctowl didn't even touch the field because my sun team was just so overpowering in week 1.
What's the problem?
I'm saying
that's exactly. I was gonna say that sounds more like not being funny. That sounds like a coaching issue than the team itself. That's you making those decisions not to play certain ways. So I'm not gonna say your team doesn't have some reasons. This is the decisions that you're making that's causing some of these mishaps that you're having. Because on paper, no pun intended, your team is fired, bro. Like I said, going into the season, going into the season, you was probably the most feared team in the whole league. So I mean, maybe you need to play more. Like Bloud said, you're doing too much. And Bloud, in a second, you could elaborate more on your thoughts. Instead of playing to your strengths, you're trying to be a little bit too creative, and is at the detriment of your team. Bloud, if you want to follow up on that, what's your ideas?
I was gonna say you can literally just bring Venusaur, Charizard, Toko, Ninetales, Helios, and then maybe like Grim to like set up screens or something like that. And you can win most of your 9 out of 10. You'll win most of your matches.
But this is another case, maybe to a lesser extent than Coach Bloud's team, but it is a pretty offensive team. So maybe the problem Bishme's finding is like he tried to switch out a couple pieces and balance it out, and it just throws. It
kind of just doesn't work.
Defense balance.
Yeah.
I mean, if
there's a delicate balance to bring in a certain amount of bulk compared to offense.
I mean, if you look at Torkoal is a beast.
Torkoal's a monster. Shiftry's a monster.
Me and Bishme used it on Showdown, and it was eating hits like it was nothing.
Rhydon is a monster.
Exactly.
Your team is really, really good. Grimmsnarl is a monster, despite what some people may think. Grimmsnarl is a monster. It's definitely a top mon, and especially in Draft League, because of all the utility it could provide. Or it could be very offensive, or even a little bit more defense. Like the Grimmsnarl is a great mon, and you combine that with everything else you have. This team is really, really good. So I think, like I said, I honestly think you're at 3-3 as well, right?
Yeah.
I honestly think if you stop playing around and stop holding yourself back, there's no reason why you aren't a team in the playoffs. I'm keeping it a buck. Your team should definitely make the playoffs.
I think the real thing is with this team, it's like you guys said, I have to play to my strengths, and that's just not something that I really wanted to do. I'm trying to be too creative with a team that's just straightforward, and that's just what it is at the end of the day.
I mean, if you want, you could be a little creative, because you do have your fire, but there's 6 slots at the end of the day. So you could bring a fire core, and then right. You could bring a fire core and then be a little creative with 2 mons or whatnot. But like I said, you just try. You go a little bit, which that's you play how you play, and if that's your way of having fun, I'm not gonna knock you for that. You get what I'm saying? 'Cause at the end of the day, we doing this for fun. So I mean, if that's what gets you pumped for your battles and you have fun doing that, I'm not gonna tell you stop doing it. But like your team is really, really good. That's all I'm saying.
After this week, all 6 Sun teams. So all 6 Sun Pokemon. Let's get it.
Wait,
here you go.
Who did you face that you didn't bring Sun at all? That you brought like a Charizard?
Sosa.
It was Sosa.
Yeah, that was
different, bro.
Nah.
And he ain't even bring thick fat Snorlax. He ain't even bring thick fat Snorlax.
No,
so imagine.
That's also the other issue with this team. He be trying to think that Hax is always gonna be on his side. He's like, oh, Serene Grace, that's 100% flinch. Look at that. The Snorlax just ate him up.
That's a fact. But yo, shout out to the Nickets, bro. Like we said, we want to see you in playoffs. Like, I'm being honest. I want to see you in playoffs. I definitely want to see you in playoffs. So hopefully you stop playing around and do what you have to do to get there. Following the New York Nickets, we have the commissioner himself of the PWD, Coach Shiny Shuriken, and the Fargo Phalanx rocking that 2020 vision with their KD, 20 kills and 20 deaths, led by their G-Max Inteleon, actually. Or actually, if you want to be a buck, keep it a buck, their Raichu, their Cantonian Raichu, because the KD is that mon actually has the best KD on the team at 4-1. So I mean, the Fargo Phalanx obviously have had ups and downs. They are at 3-3 as well. Yes, bro, I swear the whole league is at 3-3. They are also at 3-3. Like I said, they've had their ups and downs. They've had moments where, for example, they beat Coach Ryan, where in that match, Coach Ryan, once again, the champion of Season 1, in that match, the Fargo Phalanx and Coach Shine Shuriken, they just played circles around Ryan. I don't know if Ryan ain't have his head 100% in the match, but the Fargo I'm keeping it honest, bro. The Fargo Phalanx played circles around Coach Ryan in that match. So he's had moments where he's played really, really well. So I mean, this is it's gonna be so tough because the Fargo Phalanx is another team that could easily make playoffs if things go their way. On paper, that's tough because looking at it's like matching up on paper, it's so tough to call. These teams are so close. All these 3-3 teams are so close, bro. Shiny Shuriken is another team. I would love to see in the playoffs, but I wouldn't want to face them in the playoffs because like the way Mac plays, he's very calculated. And after our battle from week 1, I know if we was to play again, he'll definitely come with some calculated differences. Right, he'll definitely come with some calculated differences, and it'll be a much tougher battle the second time we play. So, I mean, Amogus, what is your thoughts on the Fargo Phalanx?
I think that they're definitely playing really well. I think that the roster is pretty balanced, like not too offensive, not too defensive. So that's like kind of like I said earlier on, like kind of like becoming a theme. Like teams that got a good balance of offense and defense are doing pretty well. For me, I definitely of the 3-3 teams could see this being one of the playoff ones. Mostly because I really don't see anybody like the only like top half of the standings team that they play in the last 5 weeks of the season is the New York Noctowl, and they've kind of floated in and out of the top. So like they could get quite a few wins in the back half of their schedule, and I could definitely see them making the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. Right.
Like
I'm definitely
more likely than some of those other 3-3 teams that have to face each other. He doesn't really have that same route.
Right. I'm definitely not sleeping on the Fargo Phalanx. I really think that they can make it, and to be honest, I'm expecting them to make it. So we'll see what happens. But they've, like I said, they've played for the most part. They played really well. Another team with an even differential. So it's not like they're getting blown back in their matches. They're keeping it really, really close throughout the season. So that's really, really good to see. Bishmi, Carlos, any thoughts before we move on?
I just want to talk about a little bit of the trades. The Fargo Phalanx were able to steal Whimsicott after the Tokyo Toxapex dropped it for DDF. So, that just adds, some tailwind support, some prankster on his team, and I'm looking forward to see what he does with it for the rest of the season.
I'm glad he did lose the Butterfree though.
He did lose Butterfree, but being honest, he wasn't really. Yeah, I'm about to say he wasn't really using Butterfree as it is. So like the one time he did try to do some Butterfree shenanigans, it ended up backfiring on him. So I'm pretty sure he wasn't sweating losing Butterfree. I think, in my opinion, adding Whimsicott to the team is a positive addition. Especially for the way his team is set up. I think that having Whimsicott is going to do, especially if you're thinking about playoffs. You definitely would love to have a prankster user. So right. I think Whimsicott is a very positive addition for the team. It is at the loss of Butterfree, but I think he's gaining more than he loses. Let me put it that way. Moving on, we have the Manchester Mimikyus, coached by Coach Peekaboo, and they are currently sitting at 2-4. And I'm going to be 100% honest. If Peekaboo doesn't win another game this season, I'm saying he did really well. Because I'm not lying, going into the season, I feared that Peekaboo would go 0-11. So the fact that he has 2 victories, especially one dominant victory against Immortals, right?
Especially the fact that
he smoked the Immortal Drampers, bro. That 4-0 don't lie. That 4-0 don't lie. So shout out to Peekaboo, bro. One thing I was very, very happy to see. I think sometimes, I know sometimes Peekaboo, especially being new to competitive battling, he doesn't take it as serious as the rest of us. He's learning as he goes along, and he admitted to me that sometimes he just straight up goes for memes, because like I said, at all of us, we're gonna have fun at the end of the day. The point is having fun, and he's definitely going about the battles in his own way. So there was a couple times where he Dynamax Shedinja, which totally was not something you're supposed to do. You never want to Dynamax a mon with 1 HP. So, it was great to see again in his last match that he didn't Dynamax his Shedinja and he Dynamaxed his Charizard, and that worked out for him really, really well. So, I was really happy to see. He's definitely had, again, as all these teams, he's had some really, really good moments and some really, really not so good moments as well. But the fact that he has 2 wins in a league this strong is amazing. And you know what? Like I said, at the end of the day, I consider that a success for Coach Peekaboo and the Manchester Mimikyus. Any thoughts from anybody?
Yeah, I just want to say that, like you said, I'm loving to see that Peekaboo is improving every week, just watching his plays, what he's doing in every battle. He's bringing something different. Love to see it. And, I like that at the end of his battle with Bloud, he was very excited to win, obviously. And, he actually said, that he was looking out for someone to help him coach. And I seen that Amoongus had reached out to him. I wanted to know, Amoongus, did he ever get back to you on that?
No, he didn't. But if he is interested in, especially prepping for draft teams, things like that, I think that he's basically, Pokemon's not the most complicated game, right? I don't think he needs to learn from me that water types beat fire types. but if he's interested in learning how to
exploit his matchups against opponents,
right? Yeah, find holes in teams and exploit them.
And learn where certain moves do.
He found it against the Immortal Drampers though, so you know what?
Yeah, he knew exactly.
Maybe he's on the right track, bro. Maybe he's on the right track. All right, but with that, we're gonna move on to the Atlanta Sabos, coached by our bro, actually Amoongus, bro. We'll let you start off. What do you think of your team so far? Actually, you're rocking a 26-20 KD, so you have a really positive KD, which is amazing to see. We expected nothing less from this team. How do you feel about your team to this point, bro?
Oh, I feel great about my team. I made a couple roster moves throughout the season. Basically I switched up all my D tiers.
You did.
Oh wow, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I switched all 3 of my D tiers since the beginning of the season.
Looking at this just made me realize Sableye a D tier. Yikes, that's crazy.
But I did that because when I drafted the team, it was pretty good. It was really good. I liked it from the beginning, but I just found a couple holes in it. Mm-hmm. For example, week 2 I got 6-0'd by Drapion. I didn't have a Dark Resist on the team. Well, I have Hitmonchan, but I went and picked up. I didn't have a Fairy type on the team. I went and picked up Mawile. I didn't have a Dark type on the team. I just went and picked up Sableye. And honestly, I feel like this roster really has it. Like, I feel like
you think it's championship caliber?
Yeah, I think we got it, man.
Well, we'll see this week, bro. Because this week you face none other than the mighty Laker Rays Gyarados, and we not coming to play. Especially after this past week. Especially after this past week with the shenanigans that happened, we definitely not coming to play, bro. We definitely need a victory back. We need that victory back, bro. So just expect us to come really hard, bro.
I definitely am gonna have to separate myself this week. If I'm the number 1 coach in the standings right now, I'm gonna have to make that separation right now in week 7. But I've definitely played some of the top coaches so far. I did take a loss to Ryan, but I've tested this team against some of the teams I expect to see in the playoffs. So I think, when we make it there, we're going to have a real good run. Once it gets to the playoffs, it's going to be like a new season for the Atlanta Softball. It's going to be pretty good.
Yes,
well, I'm actually looking forward.
With that said, I also continue to play. I still have to play Squid yet. Still have to play Sosa yet. Bishme and Southside. Bishme and Southside are both at 3-3 and are on the fence. They could both be playoff teams.
You played Thermoto Dramp already, right?
I have.
Yeah, he smoked them.
How did that go for you?
He smoked me? That's what we gonna say?
That. I got I squeezed that one out on luck, but I did play them.
Oh, but you won.
You smoked them.
I did win.
Sounds about right. Keep going.
Yeah.
So when I win, I just want y'all to remember this. I'm gonna send y'all a link. Every one of y'all the link. Whenever it comes to it, I'm gonna send y'all.
I mean, the truth be told, I played the Immortal Drampa, but
he played them like a buck.
I've played coaches with better records than that.
Yikes!
Facts.
Yikes!
That was just another day, dog.
All on my list.
Yikes! All right, let's move on to the final team. We have Coach Southside Braves and the Nashville Needle Kings, who is also sitting at 3-3. Our final 3-3 team. That's kind of surprising to me. Actually, I expected this team to be a little bit higher, maybe at least 4-2 to this point. With that Dragapult, Corviknight, Azumarill kill, he has the likes of Amoonguss, Alolan Mara. This team has power. Straight up,
but he's
power.
trying to show you that his team just isn't Dragapult and Corviknight,
and
bro.
that's I mean, like we said with your team, you be holding yourself back sometimes. That's the same thing going on with this team. Like I said, we definitely respect it, because like we said, if people want to try different things to prove a point, or they're having more fun using their entire roster or whatnot, like I said, we're never gonna knock you for that. But speaking in terms of the team's win-loss record or whatnot, definitely him not bringing his strongest cores at times has been to the detriment of the team at the time. Because like I said, if he probably came with his strongest and his higher tier mons most of the time, he's probably right. He's definitely probably sitting at a better record for sure. Right. This has been on paper. This has been one of my favorite teams to watch all season. So I mean, we still got week 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We still got 5 battles left. Yeah. So there a lot could happen.
Nobody is out of the play. Honestly, even Tokyo Toxapex at 1 and 5. While they're kind of doing a rebuild, and that adds to the lack of probability of them making the playoffs. they're not mathematically eliminated.
And that and I mean that could be said going the opposite direction too. The teams at the top of the standings is so close.
I could lose
we still got to
game.
bring We still got to bring our A game. We definitely still got to bring because we could easily find our ways out of it.
5 wins ain't enough to make playoffs. I could lose every game, and then that'd be it. I'd be sitting at home.
Right. Any thoughts specifically on the National Needle Kings from anyone else?
I do. It's a little unfortunate to say because, as you were saying, this one of like I really liked both Coach Bishme and Blau's roster. I think I kind of favor offensive rosters like that. But like this was another one of those rosters that before the season I seen and was one of my favorites. A lot of people like Shay's roster, and I think that personally for me, I like this one even more than that. As good as it is, just to say, like I really love this roster.
I wouldn't disagree with you on that.
They've taken some unfortunate losses to be at 3-3 right now. I also kind of felt like I thought they would do a little bit better early on because they play some tough competition late in the season. They still have to play both of the top 2 teams. They play me and you, and they play Squid, who, as I said earlier in the video, I think they probably, one of the playoff teams coming up. They really gonna have to play their best if they want to turn this into a playoff season. They probably have the toughest road of the 3-3 team, so that hurts.
Right. So I mean, yeah, that's a wrap up on everyone's progress throughout the season so far. Like we said, everyone, whether you're at the top of the standings or at the bottom of the standings, everyone has had amazing dedication and has put in a ton of hard work into these battles, and it is greatly appreciated. And we are having so much fun with the PWD season 2. I kind of wish Shiny Shuriken was here so he could give his thanks out to everyone as well. We got to get Shiny Shuriken in one of these videos. Hopefully we could definitely get him for the week 7 analysis. But yeah, speaking of week 7, let's move on to week 7. Yes, we do know that this is definitely a much longer video than the previous ones, but this is a special episode. This is a league roundup, so definitely we expected this one to be a little longer. But before we get out of here, we just got a couple more things we got to talk about. Let's quickly look at the week 7 matchups. Obviously, we're not going to make our pick'ems here because Amungus does that over on his channel. But looking at the matchups, we have the National Needle Kings versus the Tokyo Takapeks, the New York Knickets versus the Immortal Jampas, the the Startmouth Garatinas versus the Singapore City Quagsires, the New York Knickets versus the Straw Hat Crocodiles. The Straw Hat Crocodiles versus the LA Infernates. We have the New York Knickets versus the Lisbon Arcanines, the Manchester Mimikyus versus the Fargo Phalanx, and myself, the Laker Age Gyarados, versus actually Amungus and the Atlanta Sables, which I think is probably not even a debate. That's probably the match of the week. What do you guys think?
That's definitely match of the week. That's match of the season so far.
That's a fact. That match definitely has because I mean, being honest, probably all season the top 2 teams have been the Atlanta Sables. Besides, they just had one slip up, which was honestly literally just a slip up when they lost to Coach Ryan and the Singapore City Quagsire. But other than that, they have definitely proven to be one of the more consistent and more dominant teams in the league. And of course, we all know what the Laker Rage Gyarados have been doing. So that's definitely a battle to see who's more or less at the top of the league right now, for sure. But yeah, Blau,
bro,
go ahead.
For me, like on these upcoming battles, any battle is like I'm looking forward to it because between the coaches being like having very good head-to-head, and also they're standing like a lot of 3-3 teams. So from here on out, like it's really go time, and you're gonna see a lot of good close matches. I just want to say, like, I probably agree with you though. Like yours and Amungus's battle probably is the battle with like the least is it risk though, because you're 4-2 and he's 5-1. So at least for like right now, your battle has the least risk. So I'll be looking forward to that one.
That is a good point. I mean, no matter who comes out on top between me and Arts, we can shake hands
still,
at the end of it and say, well, we'll probably get to try again.
I think my bad, on Amunga's side, I'm sorry, Blood. On Amunga's side, it doesn't have a lot of risk. On my side, it has a lot of risk because if I lose,
that's what I was gonna say.
Right, if
he loses, he's 4-3, and then a whole bunch of those 3-3 teams are catching up.
A lot of those 3-3 teams is gonna become 4-3 most likely.
Yeah, but are you gonna get 6-0 and drop to a +4 differential?
You never know.
That's never know.
I think your differential is high enough to be okay.
That's not.
He makes another good point. I think for one of the reasons that like I called it Battle of the Season though is it may not have the like playoff implications. Like I'm trying not to say it in like any type of way, but like me and Arts have more wins on our record, so like our position towards the playoffs is better. We could still fall on our face and miss the playoffs, but we have less at risk. However, everything's been so tight in the league that like there's been no clear-cut number one at any point in the season. And this has been one of the only instances in the whole season where, you know, I mean, you could throw Sosa in the conversation, of course, with us, but
almost definitely
you can't have three people in a battle. So this is like the closest to a King of the Hill match that we can get.
Right. All right.
I still play Sosa later on in the season too. I don't know if
I don't. I would have to. We're both fortunate enough to make playoffs. I'll have to meet up with him in the playoffs. So
doesn't say like maybe it'll come on and Sosa will have his chance to prove league dominance later on in the season. But right now, there hasn't been an opportunity for anybody like what me and Coach Arts have week 7.
Right. All right, so yeah, that's the wrap up of the league so far. There's one more thing that we want to, well, actually, it's going to be grouped up as one. There's a couple more things we want to get to before we head up out of here, and that is up to this point, the mid-season awards, where we're just going to basically recognize whether it's coaches or Pokemon for some of the greatness that they've displayed this season. So actually, Amungus here, he compiled a list of what would be considered the all-star team of the league, and it's basically the most outstanding Pokemon from each tier, and we compiled a team of it, and this would be the all-star team of the league so far up to this point. So Amungus, would you like to read off that list?
Yeah. So as he was saying, it's basically like a roster created the same way as we drafted it, and so it would be one GMAX slot and so on and so forth as the whole roster goes. For the GMAX All-Star, we got GMAX Cinderace from the Immortals Drampas, leading all GMAXs in kills and being a very consistent performer. We have for the S tier, I think it's pretty obvious that we have the league kill leader, Gyarados from the Lake of Rage Gyarados.
Hey.
For A tier, only having to choose one was really close, but it actually came down to a lack of depth and even like battle impact, where you get into like the intangibles that aren't so much on paper. But for A tier, we got Tangrowth from my Atlanta Sobble. You know, you could take.
I could rock with that.
Times when like the ancient power went off against Coach Bloud and got me back in battle. Yeah, definitely. There's a close race at A tier, but for battle impact, we're taking Tangrowth on that one.
I agree with you.
On the B tiers, the number one kill leader of B tiers is Porygon Z from the New York Noctowl.
Ooh.
But also, and I think battle impact goes a lot into play on this one too. We have Mudsdale from the Stark Mountain Giratina.
Those are great picks.
On C tiers, we have leading the way. We have Drapion from the Cianwood City Quagsire. They have 9 kills, which is really impressive for a C tier. We have Ninetales from the New York Knicks. That's the Cantonian Ninetales. With a ton of kills, great impact on the battle, setting the sun. They've been a very reliable member for the New York Knicks. And we have Toxicroak from the Nashville Needle King, definitely performing like above expectation. Then moving on to the D tiers, we have leading all D tiers in kills, which I think is an impressive feat in itself to have more kills than any other D tier, is Raichu, the Cantonian Raichu from the Fargo Phalanx. Behind him is the Alolan Doug Trio from the Lisbon Arcanine, and Midnight Lycanroc from the Los Angeles Infernape.
Right. So that makes up our all-star team. I think those are all amazing choices. I actually 100% agree with that list.
Yeah, I take that roster.
Can I take that team like right now?
Yeah, I think that is a team well worthy of the all-star lineup. So, shout out to all those Pokemon and their respective teams. Definitely worthy of being an all-star team, like I said. Moving on, I want to get into MVP candidates for the season. I actually want to talk to...
Wait. I just realized we missed the chance to call them the Monstars. But go on.
You know what? Yo, that's fire. I gotta make a team logo for that, for the video. That's gonna be the name of the all-star team. Hey, that's fire, bro.
Monstars.
That's fire. You know what? That's what's gonna be called, the Monstars. The Monstars of the league. I like that. Okay, so you know how like also, especially like MV and NBA games, whether it's football or whatnot, there has to be a coach of the all-star team, and that usually goes to the team with the best record. So the all-star coach of that team would actually be Amungus. So shout out to you, bro.
Actually, Amungus, nice.
That was fire, right? That was fire. I know.
I appreciate that. I definitely want to be humble on this one, though. I want to give a honorable mention.
No. Stop. No, wait. Stop. Wait. We're gonna get to coaches in a second. We're gonna get to coaches in a second. And so, like I was saying, I want to talk to actually Max Shiny Shuriken to see if like at the end of the season, because we're just giving our opinions for the midway point, and it's obviously only our opinions because we're here present in the video. But I actually want to make and I'll like design a trophy or a certificate and everything to actually give out awards to the winners of these awards or whatnot. So for example, we have MVPs, Coach of the Years. We are making a you hate to see it award. That's definitely going out. But the way we would determine this is that every coach in the league gets a ballot, and for each category they'll give a vote for who they believe is the winner of that specific category, and the coach or the Pokemon with the most votes in that category will definitely be the winner of that award. So that's definitely something I want to talk to Shiny Shuriken about. But for the purpose of this video, it's just us four here, so maybe each of us could give our opinions. So we're gonna start off with MVP, which is basically the mons that we feel are the most dominant mons, or have been having the most impact for the teams of the season. For this video, each of us could just give like maybe our top 3 nominees, and I'll start off. I think without a doubt, definitely one of them is Gyarados. Gyarados probably leads the way in the MVP vote with that 15-3 KD. I mean, I said he's the only reason why my team is so successful. So I mean, why wouldn't he be considered? I also would like to probably in my second place vote, I'll probably give it to G-Max Cinderace, who's also been pretty dominant with the 10-5. And in my opinion, I think the definitely a mon that needs to be in the MVP vote, especially considering the circumstances, is Passimian from the New York Noctowls with that 7-3 KD, just because of the amount of impact it's had on battles and the circumstances that Coach New came into the league. I definitely want to show that team a lot of respect this season. So my 3 MVP candidates are definitely Gyarados, G-Max Cinderace, and my third nominee would be Passimian. Bishme, what do you think? What's your 3 nominees?
I'd have to go with, of course, Gyarados. If I could put all 3 votes in the Gyarados, that's what it would be. But I can't. So next, I'm gonna go with Ditto. So far, but I'm looking forward to seeing like what he does with it in the next couple weeks. And the last one I would give it out to Salazzle. A lot of people kind of sleep on that, and it kind of is 8-1 right now, and it's only turning up from here. So
great point.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. Bloud?
Oh, okay. It's my turn. Heard you, Bishop. But for my first pick, I'd put, the one yours truly, G-Max Cinderace.
Wow.
And
that's not biased at all. Right?
No, it's not biased. Of course not. it just goes stupid. But at second, I'm gonna have to take a book. I'm gonna take a page from Bishop's book and put Ditto at second.
The hate.
Because Ditto has been putting in work for this team, and Ditto has been sort of, in a way, like meshing that team together. It's sort of the playmaker of that team and allowing it to thrive.
I agree. Ditto is actually a really good pick. I probably missed the ball on that one. Well, luckily, like the votes aren't due today, but yeah, Ditto is actually an amazing pick.
And then the last but not least, I'm gonna have to go with the G-Max Snorlax.
This dude, bro,
I'm muting you. I mean, think about it. It's 8-1 right now. 8-1. He picked it up week 2 and missed 1 game. It's 8-1.
That's fire.
Still.
You're right. I'm not gonna knock you for that. Go ahead, bro.
And then maybe 4th I'd put.
I'll just mute you for it, but I'm not gonna knock you.
But I can only pick 3, so Gyarados will be 4th, but I can only pick 3. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Amogus. What's your top 3?
So, I mean, I think that the Command and Kill lead for Gyarados probably locks it up in number 1 pretty solidly. If I had to be different, I probably would have mentioned G-Max Snorlax just to make sure it got mentioned, because the 1 death is very impressive. But for my second vote, I'll probably also pick Ditto. Just, I understand that, Snorlax has 1 more kill with the same amount of death, but just the amount of predictive knowledge, and you gotta make some plays to get 7 kills, 1 death. It's impressive to see. And then my other one, I'm gonna throw this out there because it hasn't been mentioned, and there's only one really Pokemon that can say this, that they've gotten a lot of kills without dying. So I would want to throw Dragapult in the mix as well. 5-0.
See, I consider Dragapult, but like I said, compared to other Mons, right? That's my biggest thing. Compared to other Mons, it doesn't have the amount of kills that you would want an MVP to have, and also there's matches where he's just not bringing it at all.
It hasn't come for the last 2 weeks, right?
Right.
That is true. Yeah. He hasn't brought it every match, and all of it could be more MVP-like in use.
Right.
But you want to talk about usage. Carlos's Cinderace has 10 kills but 5 deaths.
Gosh, I know.
Yeah, that's why I didn't vote for it.
Bishop, how many do you have in MVP voting?
What? How many did I? Because I don't follow my kills through my Pokemon
no hard feelings. It's just opinions.
Bishop gets the mid-season award for being the first person to kill all his Pokemon.
Wow.
Yo, that's crazy. All right, but we gotta move on. So we hope that the rest of the league starts giving thought to who they believe the MVP of the season is. I actually like that discussion. That was really, really good. I mean, that really brought insight to Ditto, who's actually really, when you look at it, has been a really good candidate for MVP. So shout out to Ditto from the Lisbon Arcanines. Let's move on to, we have 2 more categories. Next, we're going to move on to the Coach of the Year. We'll have Amogus start off with this one. Amogus, who are your top 3 nominees for Coach of the Year?
I guess I was already about to get into this early. I was picked for Coach of the All-Star team And I guess that makes sense with this still being in play. Because for me, probably the number one coach, and I do have two that I would put, but I'm gonna put them in order. I would definitely put Coach New York Knocktiles number one, just for. I think he'll probably be a playoff team. I mean, he does have some challenges. He has to play well and beat some tough teams to get there. But to do it from, even if he just slightly misses the playoffs, I'm still going to give him a pass, because I had a wheel pick. It's pretty easy to make a good team when you get to pick almost twice in a row and all those other things. He had to pick after all of us feasted at the table. So I would give him my number one shout out, especially if he ends up locking it down and making the playoffs. Close number two on that, for similar reasons, although he was president of the draft and all that, but just the way that he's used his team and the amount of surprises he's brought that, the team's overperformed, would be Coach Squid. Then, because I got another vote left, I guess we would have to give it to me for the best record so far.
Okay.
You see, for me, I would have to go with Coach Bloud of the Immortal Drampa as top one. Just it's so surprising that with a team like that you could go 2-4. Yeah, I have to give him MVP for it. Like, it just surprises me.
He's finding creative ways to lose, yo. I can't.
Yeah, Coach you just can't beat that, bro. You can't beat him because he's gonna beat himself. But nah, seriously, I give Sosa.
Coach Cloud MVP of 13 teams.
I'll give Sosa coach MVP. Number one, just because I just like his play. He being so calculated, and I think like with his team, he's done. I want to say, in my eyes, he's been the most impressive. Utilizing his whole team, because like I said, you guys go through one Pokemon, but I seen Sosa probably use his team to the best, like everyone. And for second, I'd go with New. Same reasons for Amoonguss, coming in, putting together a team and just doing really well with it. And for last, I'll give it to Squid.
All right, Blau, what's your thoughts?
Oh, okay. So my number one, I was thinking about it while you guys were talking. So my number one, I think it would be Squid for me, because the way he's kind of utilized his team to take down the champion is in Ryan, and being 3-3 and not even like being able to bounce back from certain losses is just amazing to me. And like that team, you'd like on paper, you'd be like, oh, it's not really that much of a crazy team, but then like what he brings to the table like switches up your whole like decision making. Like, it's just crazy. And then for number two, I'd put Ryan at number two, because I feel like even though Ryan has on paper, his team is not, what was the preseason ranking was like 8th.
Yeah, it's definitely not the most.
It's not the strongest team
on paper.
Yeah. Until you get into the game and you see a Choice Scarf and DDD just smacking your whole team, and you're like, wait, what do I do against this? Or like a Drapion, Swords Dancing and a Jillian and just knocking everything off. But
hey, it's really different.
Yeah, and I'd give that to Ryan, even though like for the past few weeks, I'd amount those losses to like an injury or to like him not being in the same in the correct type space.
Especially last week was due to health issues. I just hope he's all right. Finish out the season, but if he can't finish out the season, I hope he's taking good care of himself.
Fact. And then for the last, it was a toss up between Arts and Sosa, but then I kind of looked at. I was like, Bishmi's right. Sosa does utilize his team to the most. Arts kind of just uses Gyarados. So I'm gonna have to go with Sosa on this one. And that's because he brings all his team, like, and even like in prep, when you watch his prep videos, he'll be like, yeah, I brought eight EVs into health because I lived one hit of this because of that. And I'm like, what? Why are you doing that? So why are you cocking things like that?
Yo, so All right, so I'm gonna give mine, and we're pretty much all in agreement on this for the most part. I would have my first play vote would definitely probably go to Coach Sosa for most of all the reasons you guys said. He does use a lot of his team, and he's very detailed and very elaborate when he goes into his schemes or whatnot. And he's just been impressive, really, really impressive. Like I said, he's one of the top records in the league, and I don't think really none of us expected that from him, especially since he was more like towards one of the middle picks as well. It's easy for a top pick team to just go out and obliterate things with some of the top mons in the draft, as you can see with Gyarados from my team or Cinderace from the Immortal Drampa. It's easy for us to go out and just obliterate things with those mons and get victories, but he's doing it with the team that he drafted, and he's been very impressive doing so. My second coach of the year nominee would go to Coach Neway and the New York Noctowls for the same reasons that Amunga said. He came, picked up the leftovers, and he's still smacking up a lot of teams in the league. He handed me a loss. So right. So he's been very, very impressive with what he's been able to do with his team. So he's definitely heavy in consideration for Coach of the Year. And I would also, my third would also be Squid. Like I said, I've probably had a lot of fun watching all the different schemes and whatnot he cooks up every week. You never know what to expect when battling him, and it's been paying off for his team, man. He's sitting, like I said, the 23 and 20 KD. He's doing the damn thing with his team. He also wasn't a top pick team, so he took his team and he's handing out the work. So shout out to the Lisbon Arcanines and Squid of Defeat, definitely deserving of that Coach of the Year nomination. All right, but with that, we gonna head up out of here. This video is like an hour and 30 minutes. It is actually. It's an hour and 34 minutes. So this one's gonna be a crazy one to edit. I'm not expecting this to go out until maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. Hopefully, if I just buckle down and do some editing and get a lot of editing out the way. Hopefully the edit is not too intense, but it probably will be. But yeah, we gonna head up out of here. Does anyone have any final thoughts before we go?
Nah.
I'm gonna just have to say,
hey,
watch
be on the lookout for the battle this week between me and Arts.
Oh yeah, that's gonna. I'm gonna start prepping for that.
I'm gonna leave it at that. As just be on the lookout for match of the season.
Yeah, it's definitely living up to that so far. What was you gonna say, Blouse?
I was gonna say, just be on the lookout for that bounce back. We coming back. We coming back strong.
Hey, you definitely have the talent to do it, so you just got to do it at this point, you know.
Yeah, I just need Kawhi over here Kawhi Cinderace to do something.
All right, but yo, as always, it's a pleasure doing these videos with you guys, and we appreciate everyone watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and show some love to all the PWD coaches. Their links are in the description below. So with that being said, we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Peace.